They told you if you work hard, you'll make it. They told you that waking up early, grinding 9 to 5, and never complaining was the path to wealth. But let me ask you something. If hard work really made people rich, why are the janitors, construction workers, and waiters still struggling to pay their bills? It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they're not smart. It's because they've been sold a dream that was never meant to come true. You see, the system doesn't reward effort. It rewards leverage. And if you don't have leverage, time, money, knowledge, or people, you'll keep working harder for less. While you break your back working overtime, someone else is sitting back watching their investments grow. Same hours in a day, different results. Why? Because they understood the game. You were never meant to win through effort alone. That was the lie.
Have you ever wondered why you're always busy, but never really moving forward? That's not an accident. It's design. From the moment you were a child, the system started shaping your life. Wake up early, go to school, obey the rules, get a job, pay your taxes, work until you're 65, and maybe then you can finally enjoy your life. Sound familiar? This isn't a life plan. It's a trap, a loop, a treadmill built to keep you running, but never escaping. You're not being trained to be rich. You're being trained to be useful to someone else's wealth. Your job, your routine, they're not built to make you rich. They're built to make them rich. You work hard, pay your bills, take your tiny holidays, and all the while the people at the top grow wealthier using your time and energy. The truth? They don't want you rich, because a rich person doesn't obey. A rich person doesn't trade time for money. A rich person is free.
Let's be honest. School never taught you how to make money. It never taught you how to invest, how to build assets, how to think for yourself. Instead, it taught you how to sit still, raise your hand, follow orders, and most importantly, how to be afraid of failure. They gave you grades, not skills. They taught you equations you'll never use, but never once explained how credit works or how to start a business. Why? Because schools weren't created to raise leaders. They were designed during the Industrial Revolution to produce workers, factory minds, people who don't question the system, people who just comply. You were trained to value safety over opportunity, certainty over freedom, permission over creativity. And now you wonder why taking risks feels scary, why starting a business seems unrealistic, why the idea of quitting your job feels like suicide. You've probably heard it your whole life. Nothing beats hard-earned money. It feels better when you work for it. Really? Let me tell you something that might sting. That idea was planted in you by people who never escaped the rat race. People who were taught to be proud of their chains as long as they polished them themselves. Think about it. Is money from investing somehow worth less than money from sweating in a warehouse? Is profit from a business you built not as honorable as your hourly wage? That phrase, hard-earned money, is used to glorify sacrifice and struggle, not intelligence or freedom. It's a trap dressed as pride. Because here's the truth. Money doesn't care how hard you work. The market rewards value, not effort. If you're delivering value, whether with your brain, your capital, or your creativity, you deserve to be paid. And if you can do that without burning out, even better. They made you believe that unless you suffer for it, it's not real income. That's nonsense. You don't need to bleed to deserve abundance. You just need to think differently. Here's a question nobody ever asked you in school. Why do the rich get richer while working less? It's simple. They don't trade their time for money. They trade systems, assets, ideas. While most people are stuck in jobs where they clock in and clock out, the wealthy are busy building machines that print money, even while they sleep. Think of it this way. You have 24 hours in a day. So does a millionaire. But if you get paid only when you show up, your income is capped. Their income? It scales. They invest in real estate. They build businesses. They buy digital assets. They make money work for them instead of working for it. Trading time for money is a poverty mindset, a broken formula, and worst of all, it's exhausting. But you were told that's the honorable way, that hustling from 9 to 5 is the only respectable path. Meanwhile, someone else is leveraging your hours to build their freedom. You've been stuck in the game. But the rich? They own the board. They told you debt was normal, that it was a tool, that everyone has it. But what they didn't tell you is that debt is one of the oldest and most effective forms of control. Think about it. They offer you student loans before you even understand money. They hand you credit cards before you know how interest works. They tempt you with car loans, payday advances, installment payments, all dressed up as financial freedom. But what's the result? You spend the next 20, 30, even 40 years working to pay back money that never truly belonged to you. You become a modern slave, not with chains, but with monthly payments. Debt keeps you obedient. You won't quit that job you hate because of the bills. You won't speak up because of the mortgage. You won't chase your dream because you're buried under student loans. They've built an entire system that profits from your struggle, and they've disguised it as opportunity. Real wealth? It's about owning, not owing. But no one ever taught you how to use debt strategically, only how to be used by it. You were trained to chase a paycheck, to see it as the ultimate reward, to wait patiently every month for someone to deposit your worth into your bank account. But here's what they never told you. Paychecks are addictive, not because they're powerful, but because they keep you dependent. Every payday is like a dose. It numbs you just enough to make you forget you're not free. And when the money's gone, you go back for another fix. Work, wait, get paid, repeat. That's not wealth. That's a loop. Now compare that to passive income, money that flows even when you're not there. From investments, royalties, digital products, automated businesses, it's not about being lazy. It's about being intentional. Because when your money doesn't need you to show up every day, you reclaim the most valuable thing you've been robbed of: time. The rich build streams of income. You were taught to wait in line for one. They didn't lie to you just to keep you poor. They lied to keep you working for them. Have you ever wondered why school never taught you how to make money? Or how taxes work? Or how to build a business? It's not an accident. It's by design. The modern education system wasn't created to make you rich. It was designed over 100 years ago
to produce workers, obedient employees, people who follow orders, meet deadlines, and never question authority. Think about it. You're taught to memorize, not to think, to obey, not to challenge, to fit in, not to stand out. And worst of all, you're taught that failure is bad, that mistakes are shameful, that risk is dangerous. But the wealthy, they know that failure is the path to success, that creativity is more valuable than compliance, that leadership begins where the school system ends. You were trained to be replaceable, but deep down, you were meant to build, to create, to lead. The classroom was never the ceiling of your potential. It was the cage. They didn't just teach you to play it safe. They taught you to fear risk. Don't start a business. It's too dangerous. Stick to your job, it's secure. Don't dream too big. But here's the truth they'll never admit. The rich take calculated risks because they know that's where the real rewards live. They invest, they launch, they fail and learn and try again, because that's how empires are built. Meanwhile, you were trained to believe that risk is a threat, when in reality it's your doorway to freedom. They convinced you that comfort was safety, that stability was success, but that safe job can disappear in a single phone call. That stable life can be shattered by one crisis. Here's the irony. You were made to compete at the bottom, so you'd never even try to rise to the top. Because the moment you start taking bold steps, the moment you start thinking like an investor, like an owner, you're no longer easy to control. The system wasn't afraid of your failure. It was afraid of your potential. If you've ever felt like something's wrong with you, like no matter how hard you try, you just can't get ahead, let me tell you something they never will. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're just running on the wrong software. From birth, you were programmed to obey, to doubt yourself, to think small, to believe that success was for them, not you. But here's the truth. You were lied to, and it wasn't your fault. They handed you a map, but it led to a cage, not to freedom. And now, you feel stuck, frustrated, exhausted, not because of who you are, but because of what you were taught to believe. But here's the part they can't control. You can rewrite the code. You can learn what they never wanted you to know. You can build income without trading time. You can unlearn fear and relearn power. You can escape the loop. The moment you realize this, the game changes, and you stop being a pawn and start becoming the player. Because the system doesn't fear your failure, it fears your awakening.